Hello there. Welcome to episode 10 of Just Ask Jen. I'm super excited that you're tuning in we're now in double digits. I've been doing these monthly Just Ask Jen series here for a while now. I'm super excited to highlight some things I've been doing and answer some questions. So let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from. And if you have any questions, just type hashtag ask in the chat to let me know that you have a question. So if this is the first time that you have stumbled upon this, welcome to Just Ask Jen. My name is Jennifer Hall, and I'm an educational technology specialist here in Atlanta. And what that means is that I provide technology training for teachers to help them come up with engaging standards-based lessons, infusing technology, and I get to push into classrooms and work with teachers as well and directly work with students, and that's the best part of my job. I'm a former language arts teacher who was pretty tech savvy and have been doing my job now for the last, this is year 8. It's kind of crazy. So let's go ahead and dive in and start talking about some of those questions that we have here. So the first question that I had here that was asked, and I thought it was a good one, was how can we use Immersive Reader that is available in Microsoft Edge on Google Docs? Now, that was a specific question to use it on Docs. I kind of am going to come from the perspective of can we use it on Google Chrome, because you mentioned the question mentioned Edge, so I'm thinking Google Chrome. We're going to see how we can do that. So love it. Thank you so much for tuning in from the north there in Canada. I appreciate it so much. So if you're not familiar with Immersive Reader, it is a magical tool that allows you to customize your reading experience. So this is a great way to support our diverse learners. So it is a tool that is built into Microsoft Edge as well as a number of other tools, and I'm going to talk about that. But there is a solution for Google Chrome. There is a Chrome extension, and I'm going to show you where you can get that in a second. But I wanted to show you a little bit what is Immersive Reader. And so as you can see here, I can go in and I can translate the language English, if that's the primary language of the text. I can change it into over 80 different languages to make it more accessible for my learners. I can also go in and change a number of other features here, so this is a nifty little animated GIF now it's reset. So how it works is that you can actually play, and so you can have an audio, it gives that audio functionality. I can adjust the speed, so I can slow it down, speed it up, and I can adjust even male or female voice. So students would change that setting for themselves. The other cool thing is that I can go in here and adjust the text size. So maybe I should have glasses, but I don't have glasses, and I can customize it. I can add that spacing between lines, and I can even change the text if maybe I'm dyslexic and I need it better, or I can change the background color to make it more accessible. And additionally, as a former ELA teacher, I love the fact that you can even tag the parts of speech and the syllables, which is kind of cool. And then again, the ability to be able to translate it into all of these different languages is what makes it magical. I can also do line focus. So for some of our special ed students that get overwhelmed when they have to read multiple paragraphs, I can do that. I can even use the picture dictionary, click on words, and it will help me with one particular word. And again, changing it into over 80 different languages. I'm just curious, in the comments, let me know if you've used Immersive Reader with your students, and if so, what is your favorite tool that has Immersive Reader built in? So it is in the Microsoft Edge browser, but what's really cool is that there is a Chrome extension that will allow you to use it on Chrome as well. So I wanted to point that out. So it's called Use Immersive Reader on Websites is the actual Chrome link there. At the end of this session, I'll put it in the chat, but I'm going to see if I can grab this link here. When I try and drop it live, it kicks back sometimes, but we're going to give it a try. So you might be able to grab that extension right there, and it will take you directly to it. So you can install it, and how it works is that anywhere that you are on the web, you can select the text, right click and say, read this to me. And it's going to go through and it's going to do the same functionality, which you just saw, adjusting the text, being able to read aloud, all of that. So it brings in the amazing accessibility tool that is Immersive Reader into Google Chrome. And you might be like, well, why would it work on Google Chrome? A little bit of technical background is that all of the browsers now are built on what's called Chromium. And so actually a lot of extensions work on Edge and also work on Google Chrome. So kind of good to know that. So that is how you could use it in Google Chrome. Now the question was, could you use it on Google Docs? That it's not going to work because it's not a web page. It's actually living in a document. So unfortunately, it's not going to work that way for you. So there are quite a few. Let me hop over here real quick. There are quite a few tools that have Immersive Reader integrated into that tool. So obviously, though, I love it. I see Sophia says Wakelet. Yes, Wakelet is probably one of my absolute favorites because you can use it for differentiated lessons. And I'm going to talk about one that I did actually this week that was really cool. It's in Flipgrid. So this is great for our students that they want to be able to have that support for reading instructions. It's in Merge EDU, which is one of my favorite tools for augmented reality. And it's in Nearpod, it's in Vocabulary, it's also now in beta in Pear Deck. It's in Discovery Education in their studio tool. I did like a post just last week. I'd made this infographic of all the cool tools, and there's a couple of tools on there that I didn't include because they're very much specific to a region or country. So they're not ones that we use here in the States. So if you're one of my friends that are tuning in from across the pond or above the border, there might be a tool that you also get to use. And there's also a couple of LMSs that it works with. I was trying to focus on like actual tools that teachers would use for engagement. But also ThingLink, Whiteboard Chat, BrainPop just got it a few weeks ago. So I'd made my infographic and I tweeted it out and someone's like, BrainPop has it. And I looked and literally like 10 days before and it wasn't on my main list, but now I know. It's built into Minecraft. It's also on Hour of Code, Squiggle, which is a video creation tool, and a few other tools here as well. Deck, Toys, Bunchy, It's Learning, Wonderopolis, and Kid Blog. And the list, I'm sure, is going to continue to grow because the fact that it has such an amazing functionality and support for your diverse learners. So if you're not familiar with an Immersive Reader, check it out. Take a look at and how you're going to see it in these tools. Anytime you see this icon right here, which is the book, open book with a speaker, that means Immersive Reader is there. When you click on it, the kids can then adjust. You don't set it up for them. Show it to them once or twice and then let them adjust, because each time they read, they might need a little bit more support or less support. It just depends. Good to see you, Stacy. I appreciate you being here. So I got to be honest. I use Immersive Reader quite a lot for myself because I was going through the Pear Deck coaches. I'm gonna put my business out there onto the interwebs, into the YouTube here. I've been working on my coaches certification for Pear Deck, and there were quite a few blog posts that we needed to read. And I was like, all right, I need to be focused and I need to be dedicated and spend my time investing in and reading these blog posts. And they were great. So I actually used the Chrome extension and used Immersive Reader because then it made me focus in on it. And because I was hearing it and I was seeing it and I wasn't getting distracted with trying to multitask while looking at the article. So I use it as well. So definitely check it out. If anyone is an Immersive Reader fan, let me know in the comments if you're using it with your kids. Along those lines, I did want to point out that there's a really cool functionality of OneNote. So here in our district in Atlanta, we are a blended family, which means that we have access to both Google tools as well as Office 365. So Immersive Reader is built into so many of the tools, and so it's in OneNote. And I had the opportunity to do a lunch and learn series for high school students this past week. So I was showing them Immersive Reader. The kids were like, what? This is in here? This is amazing. Because think about it. Even your strong readers that have to read a lot of text for their content, like AP World History, and they could put multiple pages in there in their notes, and they can actually have that support. So something pretty cool. Bonus tip, on my series that I did, the Lunch and Learn series, I did 10 tips and tricks for using OneNote. So if you're a OneNote user, let me know in the comments how much you love OneNote. But this was the other tool, talk about accessibility and support for students. How many of you knew there was a math tool that helps you solve math problems inside of OneNote? You literally can write in a math problem, select it, it will help you solve it, it will give you the steps of the problem, and it will break it down and even give you practice problems inside of OneNote, which is such a cool functionality of OneNote. The kids loved that. And I gave a couple other cool tips for my OneNote users that you can create very easily subpages, so you can do that deeper organization. You've got sections, you've got pages, you've got subpages, especially for high schoolers that are trying to learn how to be organized. That was another tip that they were excited about. They're like, oh, I didn't know I could do that. And then also, again, another support for accessibility is you can dictate directly into OneNote, so students can record and have it go straight into their OneNote, and it's going to do voice notes for them in there. So it's kind of a great way for students that oftentimes, as a former ELA teacher, a lot of kids had great ideas, but they struggled to get the words out and put it on paper. And now, you know, the kids are working with the digital paper because they're writing in Google Docs, they're writing in Microsoft Word. So sometimes just telling the story and talking about it lets them express what they know. Oh, there we go. So our district is an Office 365 district. So yes, we use OneNote. That's awesome. There's so much functionality to it. And I like to use it for myself, like going to conferences. I've got one coming up. It's the first face-to-face conference. I'm so excited. I'm going to get my OneNote notebook ready so that I can take notes for each of my sessions and have it organized so I can go back and explore those tools and tips that are shared with me. A couple other cool tips. So Stacy probably knows some of these, or maybe these will be beneficial to you. For OneNote, using the emojis, there's actually a built-in emoji keyboard. So you can actually, am I going to see you, Stacy, at GATC? Are you coming? Hopefully. The emojis, so I can put bullet points in there and use it kind of as a reminder for me, or task for you as an instructor. You can say, hey, I'm going to throw in some emojis to give them some stuff. Well, you just made my day, my friend. I will see you there in less than 2 weeks. Awesome. Another cool thing that you can do in OneNote, and this was another tip that kids were excited about, is that you can insert audio and type simultaneously. So they can do audio recording of a lecture or an activity with a teacher and actually take notes simultaneously in their OneNote, which is pretty cool. Also, there's the ability in OneNote to do tags. So again, we're trying to get our students to use tools to organize their own work, to level up their engagement. And so I love the idea that you could tag things, and you can even do custom tags inside your OneNote notebooks. So since we're blended, we use Google Classroom, and then teachers link a OneNote notebook for them to use as their interactive notebook. It's replacing the old school Trapper Keeper. So for those that are like, I've never used OneNote, imagine that OneNote is, I'm aging myself, the 3-ring binder with the 5 dividers that you had to have at the beginning of the school year, and you'd have your sections and your teacher would do a notebook check. Let's be honest, how many of us were those teachers that do notebook checks? And some people still do it. I had to do that as an ELA teacher. I was like, I have to see your notebook. I have to see that you have all your notes and things in order. Now you can do that with OneNote. You can monitor students in a class notebook and have them tag resources and find things a lot easier. So those are just a couple of tips that I shared. I had a couple others in there. These were some animated GIFs that I created to make it a little bit easier to explain this concept for students, because a screenshot is one thing, but when you see it in action, it makes it more visual for students. So I did a training this week. I did one this week and one last week, where the teachers were like, how did you do that? Where your presentation is moving and scrolling through pages. And so how I did that is I used a tool called Licecap. And so I made a quick tip video about this. It's on the channel, so you might want to check it out. But Licecap is a free, there's my favorite price, a free tool that lets you create animated GIFs. It literally records the area of the screen that you want. There's no settings. You literally click it and forget it and stop it when you're done recording. And then you can bring those in. And so I use them in my Google Slides presentations. You can actually add them into Wakelet because it can use animated GIFs. You can put it in the OneNote like I did. I love putting them on my website. You can tweet them out. So it's a great way to capture something as an animated GIF to demonstrate something. So I've had teachers go, where's the setting for this? And I could do a voiceover video and they're going to watch it once. But if I do an animation, then they're like, oh, wait, I saw they clicked, or watch it again. That goes again. And so you might want to check that out. Licecap. It does have a download for Windows, so on PC and for Mac. And it's such an easy to use tool. So that I wanted to point out that quick tip, because I was in the middle of a presentation and it was hilarious because the teacher looked over and was like, you're over here, you're not touching the board. How is that moving and scrolling through what you're talking about? So definitely check out Licecap if you're looking to create animated GIFs that you can use just about anywhere, which is pretty cool. All right, so I mentioned that I did a lesson on Wakelet. I did some training on Wakelet, and I got to push into a classroom this week. Best part of the job when I get to go in and work with kids. And I presented Wakelet to all the teachers, all subject areas at a middle school, and I mentioned that I had several templates, including one for research. So literally through the whole research process in terms of, hypothesis, materials, the whole process. And it was a template that could be easily used in Wakelet. And I mentioned that, hey, this would be great. You can share it with your students. So I had one teacher that said, when can you come to my class? I want to do this soon. We have science fair coming up and this is perfect. I was like, I'm on my way. When can I come? So I got to push into a class. And so it was great because I got to model it with one class. And once she got comfortable with how we pushed it out, that introduction, she's able to do that in the other classes. And the 7th graders were super excited because we walked through what is Wakelet, how do you use Wakelet, and then how easy it is for you to get a copy of it. So we published a link to the actual Wakelet collection in Google Classroom, and they click on it and make a copy, and voila, they can use it to capture their research. Now, we didn't hit a speed bump, we just had to course correct because there were a couple of kids that decided to work together. So the pivot on that was that then I told the teacher, I said, let's make you one with those kids' names on it, and we'll push that out so that you can still monitor them and they can work on it as collaborators. And it worked really well. And the benefit of doing it now in Wakelet is that Wakelet released at the beginning of the year an updated access to Google Classroom, or you can push it out to it's Google Classroom, Teams, and Clever for class link connection. So you literally can create accounts for your students. And this is great because if they were to create their own account, they would need to be, I think it's over 13 for, because they are FERPA, COPA, and all of the things compliant. But if kids that are under 13, you want them to have access to it. If you link it to Google Classroom, it takes away their ability to explore and search. They can just build collections. So this template is available on my Wakelet profile. It's really, it was a lot of fun pushing into that classroom. Speaking of Wakelet, they also have a new Wakelet certified course. So if you've not used Wakelet before and you're like, what is it? It is an amazing content curation tool that has Immersive Reader built in. So to me, it's taking hyperdocs, the concept of hyperdocs, and doing a graduated lesson, and it's on steroids because it has so much functionality. So they announced their certified course, and I took it and got certified. So definitely it's a great way for you to explore and learn about Wakelet. So another thing that I've had teachers asking me a lot about lately is okay, so I'm using the technology. We are now 1-to-1 here in our district, and I'm so excited about that. But the question is, okay, so what can I do to level up the use of technology? So in our department, the Office of Instructional Technology, we're putting an emphasis on the SAMR model. And if you're not familiar with the SAMR model, the goal is to enhance technology integration. So SAMR is like a ladder that goes up. So we're going to start here and talk about at the bottom, substitution. The idea that, hey, I needed you to write a paper. Normally you would write it on a piece of paper, but now I'm going to have you type it up in Google Docs. That's substitution. The technology is just replacing what you would have done old school. And a lot of teachers have started doing this already because they had to figure out a way to do all the things they were doing before the pandemic. And they were like, I used to do this really cool activity. For example, I worked with the 7th grade social studies team, and they were like, well, we used to do old school map. I hand out a map, the kids will label the parts of the map. How do I do that virtually, Jen? How do I use technology? So we had to figure out ways to do that. So as you move up the ladder, you've got augmentation, the idea that you level up and there's some kind of functional change. So instead of just writing the paper and typing it in Google Docs, now I'm going to use Google Docs to do the collaboration, and we're going to work collaboratively on it. We're going to use the commenting feature, and I'm going to be able to provide feedback because now I've given some extra level of integration with technology. And then moving up the ladder, you've got augmentation. That means there's definitely a bigger redesign. So maybe what was normally just a written assignment where you were just going to type up a paper, but maybe now it's going to turn into a blog post, and you're going to actually share your awesome work with the world. That's leveling it up. And then which is something you would need technology to do. And lastly, to redefine it, is maybe we're going to turn it into a podcast and create a whole new product. So been talking to teachers about SAMR and trying to figure out ways to level up. So if SAMR's new to you, I'm just curious, are any of you all using SAMR, or maybe there's another technology assessment tool, TPAC, or I think there's TIMS. There's several out there, but just curious, what are you all doing in your school districts to push innovation and the use of technology beyond just, filling in for the textbook? Because this bottom level here is enhancement. I'm just making it a little bit better because we have a computer. That's great. But transformation is we're doing something totally different that we wouldn't have been able to do before. So I'm just curious. Let me know in the comments about that, if you all are using SAMR or TPAC or another a technology assessment tool. I want to make sure I cover all some other things. I'm watching to see if there's any comments or questions in the chat. This is probably going to be a quick one. I know that people are getting so busy because we're coming up on the holidays and everything. But I did want to say, yes, I am super excited about this upcoming GATC, which is our state conference. I have not been at a conference since March of 2020 to present, and this is the first time I've ever been a featured speaker at a conference. Kind of official, kind of a big deal. I've got 4 sessions at GATC, and I cannot wait. I am beyond excited to see people in the real world and share ed tech with those folks. So I'm looking to see if there's any comments or questions in the chat. Looks like I appreciate those that are tuning in live and checking it out. Thank you so much, Stacy. I'm still got to put the finishing touches on my presentations. But I am super excited. I'm going to be presenting about one of my favorite sessions on Bitmoji, and doing one on Wakelet. So all the ways you can use Wakelet for differentiated lessons. I'm doing one on AR and VR in the classroom, and amplifying student voice. So all of my favorite things, and I'm going to get to be with my ed tech friends. So if you're looking for any resources, tips or tricks, please make sure you check out Tech Tips 411. You'll be there for those? Oh, awesome. Yeah, it's a total of 4 sessions. I've got 2 on Thursday and 2 on Friday. It's going to be fun. So please check out those resources. And again, I'm trying to start doing some more tutorials on the channel. I did an overview of the new features of the Flipgrid camera. That was my latest video that just dropped a couple weeks ago. I'm going to start doing a series, and I'm curious. Let me know in the comments if this sounds like this would be interesting. I want to do a series on Canva. Canva is probably one of my absolute favorite tools that I use on a daily basis for social media stuff and also design stuff. But we took some headshots for my department to update our website. And so one of my colleagues is a fantastic photographer. So he did like the professional, nice bokeh, really cool effect behind the scenes. And I was like, this is great. I said, I want to do one where I want to just take it in front of a blank wall, and then I want to bring it into Canva and show you how you can do really cool profile pictures that you customize with the remove background feature in Canva. And so everyone agreed to do mine. So I took some photos too. So we're going to play around that. But I wanted to make a tutorial on creating cool profile pictures and the video tool and stuff. So let me know in the comments if you would like to see some tutorials on Canva, some ideas and ways you could use it. And I'm totally loving this. And folks that are like, I'm not sure who all these folks are. Yes, Leslie, Tony, and me. The fact that is in one sentence is in fact, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna screenshot that because you just that made my day, because that is hilarious. Because I'm big fans of both of theirs, and the fact that that is to be in the same space as them, I'm super excited. So I just grabbed that just Stacy, thank you for that. You made my day. All right, folks. And last but not least, if you're not already signed up for my weekly tech tips, please subscribe. Because I'm trying to, still doing that every week. I send out a tech tip, a tool you might want to try, a Chrome extension that might find beneficial, and a digital resource. And then I also kind of share, hey, come see me live for Just Ask Jen. But I'm also curious, in the comments, do you find this beneficial? Do you think this I put together some topics based on questions and things I'm doing. This definitely helps if, you let me know, hey, yeah, these are questions we want answered, or we think this kind of format is fun. But I love this. Antoinette says, all right, I would love to see tutorials on Canva. You love using it for Google Classroom headers. Yes, it's great for that. And you can even do animated ones. But great. I'm glad to know that other folks will be excited. I'm doing a PD session for our department. Well, actually, it's for our district PL day, and it's a Canva extravaganza. So I'm putting together some presentations, but I kind of think some tutorials would be beneficial. So thank you for that feedback. All right. Well, this has been a quick episode, but hopefully you have found this beneficial. If you're, tuning in now, thank you for your time. If you're watching from the future, I super appreciate your time, and thank you so very, very much. And I can't wait to see you all on the next one. So hope you have a good one, and thanks for watching.